Today in Perth, a woman fights for her life after a shocking accident in Morley. Hey, I'm Leah.
And I'm Garrett.
Welcome to Laid Back Local, the news of the day, with Leah and Garrett in Perth.
Let's dive right in. First up, a serious one in Morley. A woman in her 30s was struck by a silver Subaru Forester sedan at the intersection of Kennedy Road and Walter Road West. It happened shortly after 6:30 p.m. on Thursday evening. She's in critical condition at Royal Perth Hospital.
That's close to the heart of it. Critical condition means doctors are working against the clock and her injuries are life-threatening. For those picturing it, that intersection in Morley is busy at that time of night, with people heading home and the light changing. Timing and visibility really matter there.
Police say an elderly man in his 80s was driving. He's assisting with the investigation. Paramedics treated the woman at the scene before taking her to Royal Perth Hospital. If you were around Kennedy Road or Walter Road West at about 6:30 p.m., even if you think your dashcam didn't catch much, that footage might help investigators stitch together those moments.
Let's unpack this. We talk a lot about speed and distraction, but twilight driving can be tricky, even when you're doing everything right. Your eyes are adjusting to lower light, and pedestrians can be hard to see in darker clothing. Elderly drivers also face real challenges with slower reaction times and depth perception. Why don't we have more regular, practical checkups on reaction time and vision for all of us as we age?
That's a solid point. Without getting into policy, regular health and vision checks feel like common sense. But it's also on all road users. Drivers can slow down at busy intersections, especially at dusk. Pedestrians can use crossings and make eye contact with drivers when they can, and small things help, like brighter clothing at night. Police are asking witnesses or anyone with relevant footage to contact Crime Stoppers, which is the tip line where the public can share information, often anonymously. Even a few seconds of video can clear up angles or timing.
This one really resonates with me. Road safety is not abstract. It's our neighbors on our streets. When elderly drivers are involved, it's delicate. We want independence and dignity, but we also want safe roads. Families can have open, kind conversations about driving confidence. That can go a long way. And for the rest of us, patience at intersections matters. If you were near Kennedy and Walter Roads on Thursday evening, anything you can share with Crime Stoppers helps bring clarity and could help prevent the next tragedy. Okay, let's move on. Next up, a bizarre early morning scene at a BP service station in Kwinana. A 35-year-old man from Parmelia climbed onto the service station roof around 3 a.m., and there was a standoff that lasted roughly 5 hours before he came down just before 8 a.m.
Police and emergency services rolled in fast. The Tactical Response Group was there too. It's a specialized police unit trained for high-risk situations. Officers say the man had a multi-tool knife, one of those fold-out tools that includes a blade. In the end, he was taken into custody without anyone getting seriously hurt.
He's been charged with criminal damage, trespass, and obstructing public officers. Quick definitions. Trespass means going onto property without permission, and obstructing public officers means getting in the way of police or emergency workers doing their job. Police say the motivation behind his actions hasn't been disclosed, so that remains a big question.
That's a curveball. 5 hours on a service station roof in the pre-dawn chill is unpredictable, and it puts responders in a tough spot. They've got to slow everything down, talk to the person, keep the public safe, and avoid escalating. It's a good reminder that emergency scenes can look dramatic from the outside, but there's a lot of patient strategy underneath.
Real talk. Negotiations like that are slow by design. Slowness is a safety tool, because rushing can lead to harm. The Tactical Response Group is trained to stabilize situations with the least force necessary. While we don't know the why here, it's reassuring that it ended without serious injuries. The court process will work through the charges in time.
All right, let's roll on. South Perth had a hit and run on Monday evening. Around 6:20 p.m., a Toyota Hilux crashed into two walls and a fence on Ridge Street near Kensington. Witnesses reported screams and a loud crash as the vehicle lost control while reversing. The driver took off on foot and hasn't been located yet.
Police are investigating and asking for public assistance. If you were near Ridge Street around 6:20 p.m. Monday, check your dash cam, which is the small camera in your car that records while you drive, and nearby businesses, check your CCTV. Even a partial plate or a glimpse of clothing can help. Accountability matters here. When someone leaves a crash, it complicates everything from medical help to insurance to simple fairness.
Yeah, that checks out. Reversing incidents can go sideways quick, especially if panic kicks in, but fleeing makes it worse. If you live along Ridge Street, maybe scan your yard cams too. Sometimes the path someone takes on foot is captured in the side angles we forget about. Investigators are piecing together how the Hilux ended up crashing into two walls and a fence, and any clip fills in the timeline.
This one frustrates me. We've got people in neighborhoods just living life, and a hit and run shakes that sense of safety. If you were there, please don't let this slide by. Send what you've got to police. And if you're the driver, turning yourself in is the right call. It makes a difference to the people you've affected and to the community you share streets with. Switching gears just a little. A Qantas flight from Brisbane to Perth had to turn back on Monday night because of an airspeed indicator issue detected shortly after takeoff. The plane circled for almost 3 hours to reduce fuel before landing safely back in Brisbane around 11:10 p.m. Passengers stayed overnight and continued to Perth the next day.
Here's a quick explainer. The airspeed indicator is the cockpit gauge that tells pilots how fast the aircraft is moving through the air. If it shows a possible fault, that's a big deal. Crews go by the book. Circling to reduce fuel load, which is simply the amount of fuel on board, lowers landing weight so the plane can touch down safely without overstressing the structure or the brakes. Aviation engineers will inspect the aircraft before it flies again.
Why circle for so long, though, instead of just landing right away?
Great question. A plane that just took off can be too heavy to land safely because it's full of fuel meant for a long flight to Perth. By staying close to the airport and circling, pilots keep things controlled while they burn down to a safe landing weight. Passenger convenience takes a backseat to safety, every time. And honestly, that's how it should be. Also worth noting, this caution follows a recent separate diversion involving a Jetstar flight where a disorderly passenger caused issues. Different situation, same takeaway. Systems and crews are trained to protect people first, schedules second.
Let's take a turn here. Last up, Subiaco retail news. Luxe Designer Fashion Hire, a charity-led dress hire run by the St. Vincent de Paul Society, also known as Vinnie's, has closed after less than 2 years. The concept was to rent designer dresses and use proceeds to support women in need, but it just didn't hit the profit mark they needed.
Now the space will become Subiaco's first Vinnie's Op Shop. An op shop is a charity thrift store that sells donated goods at low prices to fund community programs. The new store is set to open in late May, and it will carry a curated range, a hand-picked selection tailored to what local shoppers want. Some Luxe staff and about 30 volunteers are shifting over to help launch it.
For context, Luxe was the first dress hire of its kind that Vinnie's trialed in Australia, and they had around 1,800 dresses at peak. Sometimes even a solid idea with great service doesn't connect with the local market. I appreciate the pivot. An op shop offers steady community value and supports emergency relief programs, which means practical help like food, clothing, or short-term assistance for people in crisis. It's a more reliable way to fund that work, I think.
Yeah, that hits different. Not gonna lie, I like when a Plan B lands on the community side. Subi locals get a permanent Vinnie's presence, donors get an easy drop-off point, and families in need benefit. Strategic shifts like this are just adapting to what works on the ground.
Thanks for tuning in to Laid Back Local, the news of the day with Leah and Garrett in Perth. Have a great day, and join us again tomorrow.